So here in the UK, if you have an e-bike, current law states that it can only have up to a 250 watt continuous output motor. It must be pedal assisted. The motor can only assist you up to 15.5 mile an hour. And if you have any sort of throttle, it can only assist you up to 4 miles an hour. Now last year, with the growing popularity of e-bikes, the government took a look at this and realised that things needed to change. So in this video, I'm going to run through the current laws, what the new proposed laws are, and what's happened to those new proposed laws. So let's just break down the current e-bike laws. So 250 continuous watt motor. The reason they set it at 250 watt is that they believe 250 watt is the same as the human output. Capped at 15.5 mile an hour. Now, whether you agree with that or don't, I do think it could be slightly higher, but I do agree if you're on a pavement and you're reaching speeds of 20 mile an hour and you've got people walking at 3 mile an hour, this can be dangerous. I think for road riding, I think it's probably safer to have a higher speed, to keep up with cars, to keep up with the traffic. So personally for me, it's one thing I do think they should really look into, but I can see why they are hesitant about upping speed. Obviously the pedal assist, you don't want things like Surons riding around on the pavements, getting up to speeds of 50, 60, 70 mile an hour. I think what they really need to do then is look a little bit further into the law. Should the bikes be allowed on pavements? Should it just be strictly for road riding? Now when it comes to the throttle, this is something that I massively disagree with. I cannot see how a throttle assisting you up to 4 mile an hour is any good to anyone. The main time that I use my throttle is on takeoff, when I want to get the bike going without putting my feet up on the pedals, because with e-bikes, as soon as you start to turn those pedals, the torque can catch you off guard. So being able to feather a throttle to get yourself up to speed and then continue with the pedals is way safer. The other thing I can't quite get my head around is you can be assisted with the motor via the pedals up to 15.5 mile an hour. What is the difference between using the pedals and a throttle? Now in 2024, obviously the government had to start taking notice. The popularity of e-bikes went through the roof, sales went through the roof, and you saw them in every city and every town in the country. And there was proposals brought forward by the government to change two in particular of these e-bike laws. Number one was going to be the motor output. They were looking to change from a 250 watt motor up to a 500 watt motor. And I think, as most of us would probably agree, that's a great decision. With a bigger motor, you've obviously got more torque when riding on the roads and in traffic or up hills. You've got far more power there. It's less draining on the battery, therefore making everything a lot more efficient. So if it's still going to be capped at the 15.5, I really can't see any harm in that whatsoever. I'm sure a lot of you are going to disagree on this, but us humans, we always want things bigger and better. The other rule that they were looking to bring in was the use of the throttle. The proposal said that the throttle could now assist you up to 15.5 mile an hour, which again, could not agree more. I think it's way safer, it's a lot more convenient. So yeah, a great change. So this proposal was brought forward by the government, and as anything, these things are not a quick turnaround. It's taken over a year for them to come to some sort of decision, but there was a lot of other factors involved. And I think this is probably one of the most important things to look at. This isn't just the PM sat in his office going, nah, do you know what, I don't fancy that, move on, let's do something else. There was a lot of governing bodies, there was a lot of stakeholders, shareholders that are all invested into this to come up with this decision. And it does baffle me a little bit, because I'll run through some of these shareholders and stakeholders, and I really would have thought it would have been in their best interest to get this law changed in order to sell more products and more bikes. So talking through some of the people that had the deciding factor with this decision. You've got the Department of Transport and the DVSA. Now these two, it would not surprise me if they were totally against this. If they came up and they were for this and something happened, it does not surprise me that these guys were probably against the change. Purely to the fact that they would have to put their name to it, and if something happened, they could partially be liable. I could be wrong, but it wouldn't surprise me if they're just trying to stay squeaky clean. Talking about Department of Transport and the state of these roads, every road I go down, there's just pothole after bump. State of the roads in the UK at the moment are just ridiculous. Other governing bodies were involved, like Cycling UK and British Cycling. Again, these are going to have a massive influence over on the decision. I can't really comment on which way these guys would sway, because I have no idea. And then you also have companies involved, like bike brands like Shimano and Bosch, that are heavily involved in the e-bike world. Also companies like Specialized. And my theory is that these companies would be massively supportive. Not only does it mean potentially more sales for them, but they can definitely help innovate this space, make it more safe, make it more economical, and just create a better future for the e-bike world and community. And some of the other authorities to be involved in this process and this decision is obviously the emergency services. The fire brigade no doubt are highly against this because of the rise in e-bike fires and battery fires that we've seen over the last couple of years. And the ambulance service probably echoes that. The police, again, I would have thought would have been against this, as e-bikes are being used for more and more crime, theft of e-bikes, putting a drain on resources and stuff like that. Oh, hopefully you can still see me in the camera. I'm literally you can probably hear my voice. I'm getting thrown all over the place. This is meant to be a cycle path. The state of it is unbelievable. So yeah, emergency services no doubt would have had a massive influence in this. Oh, what a idiot. And that's exactly why the 15.5 mile an hour limit should be looked at. It's because cars get so frustrated and then they go and do stupid things like that and nearly hit oncoming cars. So the proposal was brought forward. It's been in discussions now for over a year, and the government have now decided, as well as the stakeholders, that there is supporting evidence that it does bring benefits to make these changes, but it's not sufficient enough. They've put a statement out saying that there's not enough evidence, and for the time being they're not going to look into this any further, and the current laws are going to stick. And I've made several videos on this topic, and I always get a really split decision. You always find that the people that generally have e-bikes and are interested in this are all for the law change, and then you find the people that don't have e-bikes that get up on their high horse and think the laws don't need changing, and in fact they're so against e-bikes. And I get this all the time. I get comments that come forward saying, oh, if you want a high-powered e-bike or you want to go faster, just go and get a moped. Or why don't you just register your bike, get it insured, and then you can legally ride faster, and bikes with bigger motors and stuff like that. And I do agree. A lot of this comes down to, you do find that a lot of the high-powered e-bikes are being abused. You see it all the time. Phone theft in London, and just people in general abusing the high-powered e-bikes. But if people were able to register them and ride them legally, it would eliminate a lot of this problem. But for those people writing these comments saying, oh, just get it registered, just get insurance, if only it was that easy. The DVLA, the government and HMRC have absolutely no idea how to process these e-bikes. And I can confidently make this statement because I'm currently going through this process. I'm trying to turn an off-road Sur-Ron into a road legal Sur-Ron, do it the right way. But throughout this process, all these agencies have no idea what they are doing when it comes to e-bikes. To register an e-bike, you need a Nova number. So I approached HMRC and they fed me false information about the power limits of the bike to obtain a Nova number. I've been in contact with HMRC for nearly 3 months now to try and get this number, and this is just the first part of the process. I finally managed to obtain the Nova number, and I've now gone through to the DVLA to try and get this thing registered. And again, the DVLA have absolutely no clue. And I've spoken to other people that have been through the process and have their bikes now legally registered for road use, and the avenues and people they've spoke to at the DVLA compared to the people I've spoke to are just completely different. There is no clear set of rules. It all depends on who you get at the DVLA as to the answers you get and the process you have to go through. And the thing is with the human race, and especially people in the UK, we all want things bigger and better. And this resonates with the e-bikes. Take broadband, for example. We all used to have dial-up, now we've gone to really high-powered internet. You've got options of having a 30 meg broadband, or you've got options of having 150 meg broadband. Of course you want the faster speeds. Exactly the same when it comes to delivery. Look at Amazon. Amazon were one of the first to bring you your orders as quick as possible. No one wants to be ordering something online and then waiting 7 days for it to come through. We want everything immediately. It's the world we now live in. Now, I'm not comparing broadband and Amazon deliveries to e-bikes. Obviously, I understand there is a huge safety issue here. And hopefully you can get the analogy that I'm sort of going for here, is that everybody wants something bigger and better. But what I can't wrap my head around is the fact that the government are more than happy for you to buy these e-bikes but they do not want you using them. How does that make any sense? They're happy to make the money, but they don't want you to enjoy your purchase. And the exact same goes for the e-scooters. You can buy e-scooters from shops on the high street and online, but you cannot use them for public use. Although you can go and rent one from the council, i.e. the government, pay them a lovely little fee per hour, and you're absolutely fine, no worries at all. You can go and ride a scooter on the streets. How does that make any sense? Now, this video is not about just going and bashing the government. They've obviously got their reasons as to why they're not making this change. They're more than happy for you to go and spend your money so they can make theirs, but then ban you from using it. Now, I know we've still got the 250 watts available, so I'm not saying this across the whole board, but you get what I'm trying to say. So just to summarise, the proposal was brought forward, but the government are no longer going to be looking into it, and the laws are going to remain the same for the time being. I really do hope they visit this in the future though, and if they don't revisit it, I really hope they sort out the process to help people register their bikes for road use in the UK. We keep hearing in the media how the government are trying to move everything to go green, electric cars, carbon neutral, but it just seems like they're leaving this whole e-bike category behind. And personally, I feel this is just going to cause way more issues in the future if they do not get this sorted. Anyway, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this, so go ahead and put your comments down below. Let me know what you think. Should the law stay the same, or should they look into changing it? And have you tried to register your bike, and what issues have you come up against? But as always, thank you ever so much for watching. If you have enjoyed this video, please go ahead and give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't done already, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. And I will see you in the next one. Take it easy.